Welcome back, friends. This is 4 a.m. Talks podcast, and I'm your host Manoj Velu back again, and you're listening to the 4 a.m. Talks podcast. So, I always talk about guys, you have become friends now because we are nearing to our 50th episode, and I'm so happy that we have reached this goal, but this is just the start. I just wanted to let you know there are so many things that is going to come up, and thank you for all the encouragement that you always given us. So thank you very much. With that, let's get right into this topic. What is the topic that I'm going to talk about today? Today, I have decided to talk about a very specific thing that is really key for you to understand how good you can be. How good you can be. So, you might be thinking, what is this guy talking about? I will reveal the component in some time, but I'm going to explain you what I really mean by you can become something good at something if you do this in a correct manner. So before I reveal what is that, I'm going to talk about a story. It's a story of John Carpenter. Of course, I always bring in John Carpenter. So John Carpenter, 2 days before his birthday, he asks his brother for a gift. His brother asks him, what is it? John Carpenter says that, he wants a ukulele. Ukulele? Okay. So, but his brother wasn't really sure that John Carpenter had no clue, like he was that interested in music. His brother thought that he was interested, but he generally thought John Carpenter was just listening to it, but hadn't had that interest of getting into it. So he asked him, and of course, you as a brother, you can't say no, and it's the birthday and everything, so he decides to buy. Now let me take this story one step deeper. After John receiving the gift of ukulele, practices for one day, and if he throws that ukulele to somewhere on the roof, how good John will be in playing the ukulele. He'll not be good at it, right? So let me give you another scenario. John Carpenter, with the same excitement, with the same determination, with the same commitment, the intensity of him practicing every single day for 2 hours, how good that person, John Carpenter, will be in playing the ukulele after 7 to 8 months. But you need to understand that it's not only practice. He is putting consistent amount of effort to make sure that he practices, and he loves that because he's enjoying it. He's enjoying the practice as well. He is learning, and he's keep putting the work and keep practicing it. So if John Carpenter has two choices, if he is not consistent in whatever he's practicing, he will not be good at it, right? So the component is consistency. But there is a misconception among people that if you are consistent, you will get the results right away. It is not like that. It may occur for few person, it may happen, and they have to figure out a lot of other things on how to make sure that that kind of fear of success might come into picture, and they have to go through a different route. But for most of them, the majority, 99%, it is not going to work out right away, because if you're practicing, you will make a lot of mistakes, and you have to correct those mistakes. And while practicing, what is the best thing that can happen? You will be creative. You will be start thinking, how could I use this for you might get into a course, or you might go to some person private, and you can go on and try to understand how a ukulele works, how to play a ukulele, and all those things. But after some time, you yourself, with all the curiosity and all the practice that you are doing consistently, what will happen is you will have a mindset where you will start thinking creatively. So that creativity will lead into something more beautiful. So this is John Carpenter's story. You can think whatever you can with this story. I'm not going to end this story. I'm just giving you a scenario. It's not a story, but it's a scenario that I'm going to give you. This is the scenario. You, you, that is you want to be good at something. What you need to do is not only practice, but practice consistently. If you're saying that I'm going to practice tennis, practice it every single day, practice it consistently, learn and try to improve and then practice again. So this cycle has to keep on going till that you have till the end of your life, or whatever it could be, that whatever your life that you are dedicating to, whatever the field it may be, you have to do that. So this is all about the consistency that you need, but only consistency will not help you to get into that mode of getting into the good. I always said that you can get into that mode of levels where if one level is over, there is no challenge, then you have to go to another level. So you can figure out those stuffs only if you're patient. If you're not having that patient with yourself, and if you're not, if you're just in that rush, or how could I just do it just for the sake of doing it, you will not be able to do it. You should be consistent, you should be fast, you should always have that determination, goal, same intensity, curiosity and determination and everything, but you have to stay patient. As you go on, you will have a quantum leap, because you will have that confidence, because you're consistently practicing and your eagerness of learning never stops, and you're learning from the mistakes that you always do, and you are having that consistency. Now you have the momentum. What is momentum means? You are having the momentum of practicing and having that consistency, so you would always be thinking creatively. So a newer self within you of being a ukulele player will come into picture. You yourself will not, you will be shocked to see your growth, because you never thought that you would be so good at it within a shorter period of time. But it will happen if you are consistent, and also have a back in mind that you have to stay patient. This generation has this problem of being patient. You know what is going to happen? I have told you this example before. I have to make this concept very simple. I have to make it more clear, crystal clear, so that you would understand. I've told this example before, but I will tell you this once again. So you may have got this example, but you may not remember this. This is just to remind you, as well as this example will perfectly fit in to the topic of consistency. I've told you, like for example, if you want to read 12 books a year, you have made your mark, you have written it down. This is the goal. I'm going to read 12 self development books. That is all I'm going to do. Okay, so the goal is crystal clear. You have written very specific, precise goal on your diary that you are going to read 12 books. Okay, so let's break it down. You have to read 12 books in a year. So how many months that is there in a year? It's 12 months. So if we do the math, you have to read at least one book a month to complete that span of 12 books in a year. So you know that you have 30 days to finish a book. Now we have to dive in deep and understand, on an average, if you're reading those 12 books, what is the average number of pages of each book is. And let's say it has 300 pages, which means that you need to read at least 10 pages a day to actually make sure that you are reading one book a month, 6 books per half a year, and then 12 books per year. This is how we break it down. If you break this down, there is always that big things that we admire, but if we break down those big things into smaller pieces of things, and if you add consistency and have patience, you can always achieve it. So this is the best example that I can bring you. And remember always the John Carpenter story that I've told you in this specific episode. If you really want to know what consistency is, you can come back again and you can watch this episode. You can get the things that you always wanted and go back and reflect. So this is the consistency that I have talked about. Coming back to you, what you really want to do in your life. Are you having that habit of being consistent on what you do? So I will make it easier for you. Let's say you are having number of things to do. Now I'm going to tell you something where it will narrow the things down. Imagine you wanted to be a, let's say, a musician. So the priority should be, you practicing the instruments on whatever you're interested in, and you have to do it no matter what, and you have to do it on a consistent basis, and you have to keep it improving, practice it every single day. But if you're having another job where you're having 9 to 5 and have to do something else, if you feel that money is something that you need to have by your side because you have to support your family and other thing, let it be a priority. But you prioritize your free time to your musician thing, because it helps both ways. Meaning, the free time that you have got, you always wanted to do something productive which makes you happy. Of course the family time and everything is there, but you need to improve on your craft, and your thinking should always be, how could I transition from a normal day job to the one which I always wanted to do, and that is musician. How can you do? Prioritize your free time. In this scenario, prioritize your free time. How could you prioritize your free time? Listen to good podcasts on that particular subject, the music. There are so many podcasts out there. There's so many people who are teaching online for free on YouTube regarding the music, whatever it could be, whatever the instrument it could be. There's always a reason where you can always go out there and learn, keep learning and keep improving. And of course you have to take the actions. You have to compose your music, and you have to ask people for review and all the other stuff that is going to happen. But gradually, if you do this consistently and keep practicing and keep learning, what will happen? So if you prioritize your free time, and if you do the things that you always wanted to do and have that consistency level, what will happen is, one day for sure, and of course you should have there's, no matter what, I'm going to become the musician. That kind of attitude is also required. There's always going to be self-doubts and everything that is going to come along the way. But eventually, if you have that patience of, you will become a musician one day, no matter what, you will definitely will go out and become a musician one day for sure. But you have to have that level of patience and have that consistency in your thing. And what will happen is, that will create the momentum going forward, and you'll have a lot of things done in a quicker time, and you will learn how to be productive, and eventually you'll play a better game, and you will reach your goal much before anyone can think of. Even you yourself wouldn't have thought about that you would reach your goal in a much shorter time. So this is what I'm trying to say. You need to understand your priorities and work on your priorities. That is the most important thing, that nobody, most of them fail at these things. They fail to understand what is their priority. And if you don't understand this, so you would just be like anybody who's just doing some normal things, and you will leave about everyone. You yourself will not be able to have that fulfillment going within yourself, that, and one day that regret will come, and that's not a good thing for anybody to go through. So with all this, whatever I've said, even if you don't remember anything, it's fine. Just remember the John Carpenter story and the one which I told you about, the book that you need to read. Just remember these two examples. Go back, reflect, and see how you can become consistent and keep practicing, so that you can achieve your dream, and the dream becomes the reality, and you would be happy to pursue. And that is the most important thing that we are trying to achieve out of this podcast. With that being said, I will see you in the next podcast, the next episode, and I'll see you guys then. See you guys. Take care.